Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. We're going to talk a little track and field as well as soccer, believe it or not. Up first, Eugene Lewis, the head coach of the men's and women's track and field team. And Eugene's bringing along Bob Liebel, the sophomore sprinter from Tonawanda, New York. Familiar with that. Mark Howlett, the men's soccer coach, is bringing along Barak Benyehuda, a sophomore midfielder from Syracuse. And then Sasa Vann will be with us, the track and field star, senior and the captain of the women's track and field. She's a sprinter from Long Island, but has a fabulous story to tell us. We'll also have Bengal Update with Becky Coleman, and of course the Tim Horton Athlete of the Week. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk track and field. Stay with us. Hi everybody, welcome back to Bengal Magazine. We're joined now by track and field, and Eugene Lewis is joining us, the head coach of the Bengals, and Bob Liebel, the outstanding sprinter from Tonawanda, New York. Coach, we've done the indoor season. We're going to go to the outdoor season now. Why don't you give us a little synopsis of both teams?
Well, right now with our women's team, we have a very strong group, about 4 or 5 young ladies that are national caliber. And we also have some younger athletes that have kind of progressed through the indoor season. So outdoor-wise, we're quite excited from the aspect of seeing development and improvement throughout the total team with the women. With the men, obviously, we've done extremely well in the jumps. We had 3 young men compete at the indoor NCAAs, and they pretty much have the same expectations outdoors. And it definitely changes the tone of your outlook when you have a national champion and someone who has to defend the same event outdoors. So
absolutely. Extremely
extremely excited for the challenge.
Bob, a sophomore here from Tonawanda, and Tonawanda High, I believe?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Indoor season, 3rd in the 400, 8th in the 60 at the conference meet. What are your expectations, aspirations as you move into the outdoor season?
Just to improve on everything that I did in the indoor season, lower my times. I want to qualify for nationals, and I don't want to be 3rd and 8th. I want to be, 1st and 1st, and I think I can do that. My coaches are helping me, and there's just a lot that I can improve upon too. So with their help, I'm pretty sure I can get it done.
Okay, Coach. He's talking about improvement. Where do you see him improving? What does he need to work on to get to that national level?
Well, the big thing is our expectations for Bob is to see him realize his goals outdoors. That's something that he was very familiar with in high school in terms of outdoor season. He hadn't run a whole lot of indoor track, and it takes a year or two to adjust to the smaller track and the racing strategies that need to take place. So we expect his outdoor seasons to always be a little bit better than indoors, and I think his goal is set at the proper place in terms of nationals.
Let's talk about Mother Nature a little bit. I talked to both of you about this, probably from different angles. It's been kind of crazy out there in late March, early April, and a couple of weekend meets have been canceled. And I know how everything in track seems to, from a coaching philosophy, seems to funnel toward the conference championship, toward the nationals, and your training goes to that. How has this weather affected what you do as a coach in terms of training these guys?
Well, it's a little bit of, there are pros and cons. Obviously you would be like to, go out and compete each week and have an opportunity for the kids to have opportunities to gain experience on the outdoor track. We kind of, look at it as the glass is being half full. It's given us a tremendous amount of time to continue to work on conditioning, strength, rehab kids for injury prevention and so on and so forth. So we found it to be beneficial to the totality of our team due to health and improvement in fitness levels. Our main concern right now and the challenge is actual outdoor track experience, which we haven't had a lot of it due to practices being indoors and cancellations of meets.
Okay. Coach had brought up an interesting point about you doing most of your high school work outside. So how big of a hurdle has it been for you to go inside and then outside? Is there a big difference for you?
At first it was a little different because I didn't have indoor track in my high school.
Okay.
But now I see it as an advantage. On a day where it's like 32 degrees and snowing here, we can go to our indoor track and work out.
Right.
But in high school I would have to bundle up and go outside because it's the only place we had to run. But No, I think it's an advantage.
And I would think you're incredibly excited to finally get outside.
Yeah, I am. I'm tired of being inside.
And yet you look out the window and you see snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what are the differences between indoor and outdoor track and field in terms of what these guys go through? Not so much your coaching philosophy, but the differences from indoor, where it's climate control basically, to outdoor, wind, cold, etc. What do you hear year in and year out?
Well, the weather plays a very big role in regards to temperature and rain and wind and that type of thing. So there is a major difference in that. The biggest thing that we get concerned with, believe it or not, is the transitioning from running indoors in a controlled environment where humidity, dry air, all those things become a factor, and then transitioning outdoors. A lot of kids have trouble with the wind, particularly jumpers, pole vaulters, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So there is an adjustment period that needs to take place when moving from indoors to outdoors.
Okay. 30 seconds left in the segment. Where are we this weekend? We keep our fingers crossed.
Well, actually, we're going to be competing at the Christopher Newport Invitational, which is in Newport News, Virginia,
okay,
which is a very good meet. And the true intent of this meet is to hopefully catch some good weather.
There you go.
So hopefully, this will be a good turnout for our athletes to compete and get their first outdoor meets. Right.
Fantastic. Well, guys, I'll keep my fingers crossed for that. Best of luck the rest of the way, and thanks for being on the show. Time for another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go inside, I think, men's soccer indoors. Stay with us. Congratulations are going out to this week's Tim Horton Athlete of the Week, and it's Sarah LaRusso from women's lacrosse, the Frontier High graduate, a senior criminal justice major. Continues her versatile play for the Bengals. She had a goal and 2 assists, and also had season best in ground balls with 6 and caused turnovers with 5 in the very tight loss to Geneseo last week. And then she followed that up with 3 goals and assists, 4 ground balls, 5 caused turnovers in a 14-4 win over New Paltz. And Sarah is now second on the team in points with 43 on 27 goals and 16 assists. First in ground balls with 33 and caused turnovers with 25. So, Sarah, congratulations. Sarah LaRusso, this week's Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. And we go from lacrosse, well, not such a great transition, to men's soccer. But Mark Howlett joins us, the head coach of the Bengals, and Barak Benyehuda, Barak, the sophomore midfielder from Syracuse. And why do we have soccer on in April, for goodness sakes? Because it's non-traditional season and some exciting things happening with men's soccer. But first of all, guys, let's talk about this non-traditional season. What's it all about, and what are you trying to accomplish, Coach?
It's nice. It's all about, we get 15 practices and 1 day of competition. The nice thing is we get a little bit of control back.
Okay, yes.
After a couple of months of them on their own.
I think he's trying to tell you something there, Barak. I'm not quite sure.
But it's nice to see how hard that they've been working individually,
sure,
and how much effort they've been putting in on their own. But we're able to then get back, and it's a little bit of a nice scenario this year because we have a lot of returners and we're able to actually accomplish things moving forward.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. Because you do have a lot of returners forecasted to come back. So this is a little different, non-traditional from a coaching standpoint than last year or the year before?
Absolutely. It's been in building this program over the last few years. We've had quite a bit of turnover.
Right.
And this year we graduated 2 players from the fall with everybody coming back. So we've got 24 guys out there right now being able to implement a system that we're going to be going into in the fall, whereas before we've had to kind of wait for the fall because we've needed those athletes that are incoming. This year we can get a little bit of a head start.
I'm assuming this all helps with chemistry too. Do you sense it out there?
Oh, absolutely. The more you get to play with each other and the more time we have under the system, the more even it flows when we're out there, and the better movement and judgment on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. From an individual standpoint, these non-traditional periods, what are you trying to accomplish?
First of all, you try to work on your fitness and in the weight room, and Coach Nate and Coach Zach have really helped us on that. And we try to, it's almost as a second tryout from in the fall. You have to showcase what you've done in the off season, and you try to piece it together to help us take the next step towards the fall season.
Well, it's fascinating, and I know you had games this weekend, and kind of an unusual game. Why don't you tell us who you played and how it all came about?
Yeah, it was a university team, a soccer academy that was started up a few years back, came over for a trip. They actually left New Zealand, stopped in Hawaii, played a Division II team in Hawaii, got to Buffalo and was enjoying the snow. And the win, they played Niagara University, the University of Buffalo, and then played us in Canisius College yesterday.
How about that?
So they had a fantastic experience. Their players are looking to come over here and play.
There you go.
So they got to see the level and what it was all about. And, you know, it's nice to not just play the same teams all the time.
Yeah, I was about to say, that must have been kind of nice for you as a player to see somebody, you know, what's this all about?
Absolutely. It's always good to get a new challenge and to face some new faces, so it was nice to play against them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fun, but there's going to be fun in August, too. You're going to England, and obviously Mark has a bit of an accent. Tell us about the England trip, how it all came about, and what's going to happen over there.
Well, it's interesting, Tom, because I said I'd never take a team abroad.
Oh,
just
is that right?
Just because, you know, you're taking 24, 18 to 22
Yeah, watch yourself
now.
Well-behaved young student athletes.
Well, but that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
We've got such a great group right now,
There
a
you
very
go.
mature group that I also think can compete at a very high level. So we're going to be over there for 9 days. We are going to be based in Portsmouth, England, where I grew up.
Wow.
We're going to be playing 3 professional teams. They're under 21s. We're going to play Bournemouth, who I played for, who are now in the Premier League. They're under 21s. We're going to play Portsmouth's under 21s, who are in Division 2 right now, and Brighton's under 21s that are in the Championship. We're also going to do some stadium tours. We go and tour Wembley Stadium, the home of England's national team, and going to hang out in London for a day. We're going to tour Fratton Park, which is Portsmouth's ground, and then Bournemouth's ground.
Incredible.
We're going to see 3 games, live games there.
Wow.
And then we're going to train there. So it really gets a head start on the season for us.
There you go. And there's 1 seat left in the airplane for me, right? You have that in your budget?
Absolutely.
And you're smiling ear to ear.
Yeah, this is a dream come true, honestly. Just my whole life I've always been obsessed with soccer, so to have the opportunity to go there and hang out with all my best friends and coach here.
He's your best friend. There you go. Absolutely.
Always.
Say all the right things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I must tell the viewers too, Barak, and I'll tell you, he's in one of my classes, and he's usually listening or watching on his phone to some soccer match, you know. So I have to turn that off. And this is all. Obviously, the NCAA allows this every what?
Once every 4 years, you're allowed to take a foreign tour. People opt to do it in the spring just for a cultural experience. Right. I've opted to do it in the fall because I think this can get us a head start to really go at it. In the regular season, we're allowed to come back 10 days before we're able to leave, so we're able to get a 19, 20 day start on everybody else, which is massive.
Which means you'll go undefeated in the regular season then, right? No, it doesn't. Okay.
I
thought I'd throw that out there. Well, guys, continue with the non-traditional. Have a great time in August in England, and thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We'll take a quick break, but before we do, I do want to remind you of the Bengal Club Golf Tournament coming up. It will be here quickly, Monday, July 11th at the Briarwood Country Club. Entry fee is $200, and the proceeds go to support Barak and his fellow student athletes here at Buffalo State. If you're interested, please give me a call on the number on the screen you're looking at, or send me an email. That's also on the screen. Again, it's the 33rd annual, I believe, Bengal Club Golf Tournament, Monday, July 11th at the Briarwood Country Club. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Sasa Vann joins us.
Hello and welcome to Bengal Update, sponsored by Hero Certified Burgers, located on 976 Elmwood Avenue in the beautiful Elmwood Village, just minutes from the Buffalo State campus. I'm Rebecca Coleman here with the recap of news and a look at the upcoming events surrounding Buffalo State athletics. Due to a wintry start to the spring here in Western New York, the only Buffalo State team to compete in the last 2 weeks has been women's lacrosse. The Bengals earned their first SUNYAC win of the season this past Friday with a 14-4 victory over visiting New Paltz. Buffalo State is currently 4-7 overall and 1-2 in the conference. Against New Paltz, sophomore Alana Hearn scored the first 3 goals of the game and finished with 8 points to lead the Bengals offense. Hearn currently leads Buffalo State with a team-high 41 goals and 24 assists for a combined 85 points, which is already 12 points more than she scored throughout her rookie campaign last season. The Bengals return to action on Tuesday, April 12th for a 4 p.m. SUNYAC matchup at Brockport. As mentioned earlier, softball and the track and field teams have been unable to compete due to weather. Softball is scheduled to play its first conference game of the season with a doubleheader against Cortland on Tuesday, April 12th at 3 p.m. Track and field is now scheduled to open the outdoor season at Moravian on Friday and Saturday, April 15th and 16th. Make sure to check www.buffalostateathletics.com to keep up with all the rescheduled events and changes. Reporting for Buffalo State Athletics, I'm Rebecca Coleman. Now back to you, Tom.
Well, thanks a lot, Becky, for that update. And we're joined now by Sasa Vann. Sasa's a senior on our track team, captain of the women's track and field team. And welcome, Sasa. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Talked to Coach Lewis a little bit beforehand about the season, but your expectations and aspirations as we now move into the outdoor season.
Definitely moving forward, I'm looking at nationals right away.
Great.
That's definitely a goal of mine to make it back again with the 4x4 and individually the 400.
And your specialty individually is?
The 400 meter.
The 400 meter.
Definitely.
Okay. I should mention to the viewers that you're a 2-time All-American, so both in relay. So maybe an individual All-American is coming up.
Yes,
you know, it's been an interesting week. We've had you on many times on the show over 4 years, and it's been a delight to have you on campus. It's been quite a journey for you to get to where you are right now, an accomplished senior here on the track team and also academically. Growing up on Long Island, coming to Buffalo State, we're going to talk a little bit about it, but do you ever kind of sit back and go, wow, what a journey it's been?
Definitely. You know, even just with the distance, 8.5 hours away from home as a freshman, that just seemed daunting to be that far away from my family. But I'm just so excited to see where I've come from, and you know, being on Long Island, it was always a little bit difficult. Just my family was really spread apart, you know, on the island.
Okay.
And also, I had about an hour ride to school every day.
Wow. Well, let's talk about that. Let's back up the truck a little bit, as they say. Our former cross country and track coach Dustin Dimmitt came down for a visit, and then we were fortunate that Coach Lewis and Coach Allen also were part of the recruiting process. Take us through the whole scenario of how you got here.
So my senior year of high school, I thought I was all set with all my applications and everything. I had finished the summer before and I was ready, you know, didn't have Buffalo State on my mind, and I got called into the guidance counselor's office, and it was Coach Allen on the phone. And we spoke for probably a half hour, just going through, you know, the different scholarships that I could be offered and opportunities that Buffalo State could offer me, and it completely just opened up a new window for me. So I did the application that day, sent it in, and by December I knew that I was going to choose Buffalo State.
We are so fortunate you did. Let's step back even further. Growing up on Long Island, it wasn't easy for you. From what I'm reading, kind of a tough town, violent, maybe some drug use there, et cetera, et cetera. Take us through that childhood, what it was like, and did you ever feel trapped in that environment that maybe I'm never going to get out of here?
Yeah, definitely. We had moved to the town in 2001, so it was, you know, also a time when people were just scared in general after 9/11.
Yep.
And so, you know, both my parents kind of wanted the house to be like the safe haven, and outside was just dangerous.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's something that my sister and I, it was like, you couldn't really play outside, or, you know, you did feel trapped sometimes.
And it seemed, as I read, that, tell me if I'm on the right track here, that you almost used education as a vehicle to get out of that environment.
Definitely.
How did that work for you exactly?
Well, with going to again, Mercy, my grandparents.
That's the hour-away trip
right,
to school every day?
Yeah, so even that bus ride was like an oasis.
Wow.
So I took that time, and I would be studying on the bus, and then I would get to school, and it was like a different world.
Wow. And yet, while you're doing your schooling, you're obviously doing very well in school, there are issues at home with mom and dad. You could talk about both, but
definitely.
Your father was a responder to 9/11. Why don't you tell us what was going on at home at that time, too?
Also, my mother had breast cancer.
Right.
So dealing with that as a child, you don't really understand what that means. And then once we found out that she was going to be okay, it was another health issue. She had a tumor in her thumb. So that was, this whole portion, everything was taken out, all the bone.
Oh my goodness.
And so she has like a metal plate there now and several stitches and surgeries. So going through that, just not knowing if both my parents were going to be okay was really difficult.
Sure. And then Dad was a responder, and then he had health ailments after that.
Right. So he ended up with encephalitis. So just inflammation of the brain, blood in places where it's not supposed to be.
Right.
And he ended up having 3 or 4 brain surgeries.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so he's got some nice wounds from that.
And all through this, and that was really, we feel, directly related to being a first respondent.
Right, from
and
breathing
the dust,
in the debris.
et cetera. And yet through this all, you're working your tail off in the classroom, and frankly, you are truly a confirmation of the power of academic scholarships and what we do on this campus and offer academic scholarships. You earned 3 scholarships, and I'm reading and I'm thinking, wow, was this even possible if she doesn't get these scholarships? What were you feeling at the time in terms of going to college?
I was crunching numbers for sure. That was one of the things that both of the coaches really grabbed my attention with. When Dustin came to visit me, he had all the paperwork laid out. These are the scholarships you can, with my SAT scores and my ACT scores, that I was able to apply for. So
wow.
I definitely.
And you were inspired by a luncheon, the Kenzie family presidential scholarship luncheon. Tell us about that. You were sitting there and you were inspired by?
Hearing, so all the seniors get to speak at the lunches. So every year, starting as a freshman, I would hear the seniors talk about their experience at Buff State. And right away, I was kind of taking bits and pieces from what they were saying. I was listening to their words, and someone had said, I was on the dean's list every semester, as a senior.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to be able to say that
and you
when
can.
I'm a senior. Yeah.
And as we sit here now in April, you can say you were on the dean's list every single semester.
Right.
And Pat, if we go over a little bit, this is fascinating. I'm going to let the viewers know a little bit about you here quickly. A dual major in psychology, hospitality administration with a concentration in hotel management. Dean's list every semester. Captain of the women's track and field. Co-coordinator of alternative break program. Member of 2 national honor societies in psychology and hospitality management, and also a winner of the prestigious SUNY Chancellor's Award. It's been a great run. We are tickled pink that you've been here. Now what happens to Sasha? You graduate and
what? So this summer, I actually have an internship at the University of Maryland, College Park. So I'll be working in like the health and wellness area and like kinesiology. So I'll have an opportunity to work hands-on in a lab.
Fabulous.
And that's 10 weeks. And then as soon as that finishes, I'll be starting grad school at Ball State University.
Correct. And you'll be in sports and exercise psychology, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
And how are mom and dad?
They're great. My dad is, continuing his artwork after his brain surgeries. People said, he would never even walk again.
Wow.
And he's running, walking. He's an amazing artist, and my mom is doing very well also.
And I'm sure they'll be here in May watching you walk.
Yep, both of them are coming
Fantastic. Sasha, congratulations. It's truly been a delight to have you here for 4 years.
Thank you so much.
That's going to wrap it up on a great high note here at Bengal Magazine. Thanks to everybody in Instructional Resources and our guests. We'll see you again in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.